That just makes it.
We don't know. There's the trials marked upstairs.
Is that right?
Meeting is now called to order.
Good evening. The Middletown Public Library is a civic institution that provides materials, ideas, information, technology, and cultural opportunities to enrich, empower, and educate. The November 20, 2013 meeting of the Middletown Public Library Board of Trustees is called to order. Adequate notice of this meeting was published in the Asbury Park Press on January 29, 2013, and in the Independent on January 30th, and was posted in the library, on the library website, and in Town Hall on Friday, November 15, 2013, in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Roll call. Mr. Siebert?
Present.
Mr. Nelsen?
Here.
Mr. Siwiec? Mr. Monaghan?
Yes.
Mr. Cordiano?
Present.
Mr. Vitkansas?
Present.
Ms. Breen? Here. Ms. Wilson? Here. Mr. Fiore? Also present is Mr. McOmber
Here.
and Ms. Latona. Flag salute.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Siebert?
The Open Public Meeting Act, NJSA 10.4-6, allows for the exclusion of the public from a portion of the public meeting when certain matters which might endanger the public interest or the risk of deprivation of individual rights are discussed, and the Board of Trustees of Middletown Township Public Library wish to discuss the following matters. A non-public closed meeting with an open discussion being made public when a proper conclusion has been reached, and there is no longer a need for confidentiality. Any matter involving employment, appointment, termination, employment, and the conditions of employment evaluation or discipline of any specific employee unless the individual employee requests in writing the matter be discussed in public. Now therefore, it be resolved, the board will hold a closed session immediately in this conference room located in Middletown Township Public Library, New Jersey. It is anticipated closed session will not last longer than 45 minutes, and the board will be returning to regular meeting after executive session. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye. It's 5:01. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, Mike, you back, okay.
Moving on with our agenda.
So we're back in
Yeah,
regular
we're back in
session.
open public session here, and we did the flag salutes, now we're on public session agenda items, Mr. President.
Oh, public session on agenda and statements to the public. The board encourages public participation. Individuals wishing to address the board shall be recognized by the presiding officer and shall give their name, addresses, and the group, if any, that they represent. Each speaker is asked to speak no longer than 5 minutes and limit their remarks to the items on the meeting agenda. The board may not respond to questions during the public participation portion. Would anyone like to speak? No, no,
You can never do this. I just have a quick question. You probably hear me without the microphone now. Melanie Elmer, 53 Green Tree Terrace in Lincroft. I've been looking at the agenda. I just really have a question of why the budget isn't on the agenda and when it would be on the agenda, because last November it was on the agenda because the appropriation was released October 1st. So I'm just trying to get a sense of what the timing is with that. That's all.
Would you like an answer?
Yeah.
I anticipate it being on next month.
For December?
Correct.
Okay. Would anyone else like to speak? No? All right.
Once, going twice. Showing as no one else in the public will would like to come forward and speak with one of the agenda?
Approval of the October regular session minutes. Does anybody have any revisions, questions?
Second. I apologize.
Okay. Mr. Siebert?
Yes.
Mr. Nelsen?
Yes.
Mr. Vitkansas?
Yes.
Mr. Cordiano?
Yes.
Mr. Monaghan?
Abstain.
Ms. Wilson? Yes. And Ms. Breen?
Yes.
2013 financial reports. We have the voucher list, the overview of the checks, and there was only 4 in the final copier account, and there was, I think, 6 in the programs and grant account that were written. And the financial report, statement of financial assets, and approval of purchase orders.
Is there any questions or comments? Is there a motion?
Motion.
Mr. Siebert?
Yes.
Mr. Nelsen?
Abstain.
Mr. Vitkansas?
Yes.
Mr. Cordiano?
Yes.
Mr. Monaghan?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson? Ms. Breen? Motion passed. Correspondence, if you, in the packet you saw, there was mostly just thank you letters. One from Barbara Maselli, the Director of the Township Social Services, thanking the library for participating in one of the programs she was doing. Also from Widows Helping Widows, we provide the space for them, and it's a really nice service. So they thanked us. Tristina Beebe, who was one of the recipients of the Conover Little Scholarship, thanked us, and Phyllis Tenardi, who's with the Foster and Adopted Services, which we have outside the box for all the Christmas things. So they all wanted to thank the library for their support this year, and that's all for correspondence. President's report?
We'll be starting to craft our budget for next year in the very near future. Expect meeting dates for the Finance Committee. Being I may not see all you before the holidays, and being that certain holidays are this weekend next week,
Thank you,
I
Rob.
got you one of our beautiful
As
calendars,
promised, thank you.
as promised.
So right on my kitchen door.
You can re-gift it to someone else.
No, I'm not ready for this. You kidding me?
I know you already have one, so.
About 250.
You better give one to our future director here.
It's only Fiore's birthday, that's very
You
nice.
can't that statement.
Yes,
Can I buy
please.
you his birthday?
Probably your birthday, I don't know.
Thank you, Rob.
Here's some more.
I chose to
Thank you,
left
Rob.
that off.
Very nice.
Thank you,
Rob.
Rob.
Thanks very much.
I hope you enjoy it for all of next year also.
Do you have any extra ones?
They're for sale for
$5.
for $5. So,
The proceeds to be split between the library and the...
and yes, I did pay for these. Just to,
How have they been selling?
Yeah, we sold, I think, the first 50 was sold, and then we took another 50, and, well, Rob just bought 10 of them, so. And then we sold approximately, I would think, probably maybe 20 or 30 of them already. I think there's not many left.
We have at a number of other locations.
Yeah, so, I mean, the library's doing pretty
Very nice.
well with the sales of
And there will be
the calendar.
an official presentation
Mhm.
December
7th?
7th.
It's pretty cool. I gotta say, I like it.
Yes.
Well, I think it's worth the $5 just to see on January 18th. It tells you that in 1956, the Calico Clown was installed. The evil clown.
That's actually very cool.
it's very interesting.
I'm happy to say Brock and I were not even pregnant.
I was born in
I'm not, but I wasn't born yet.
Yeah.
Are you crazy? I wasn't.
Okay.
Either you like to comment on the personnel committee?
No, I think we set it up about the personnel.
Okay.
Right now. Wait, let's see here. No, there's really nothing to report on the personnel. Okay.
Sure.
Yep.
Second.
Finance committee?
I will be sending out meeting dates.
Will you?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I will make sure you're not forgotten, Mr. Cordiano.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Moving on to new business.
Yep, hiring resolution 2013-36, Ebony Reeves. The other candidate last month, William Camp, never showed up for the job that he was replacing Ginny Skokovich, who retired. So we did took the next candidate that they really liked. Department heads had met with him, Jim Van Ness, Cindy, and they really liked Ebony a lot. I did all the hiring orientation with her, went over all the policies, and she started this Monday. So she's doing very well. She showed up, and she seems to be acclimating to the job very well. So we have that resolution, 2013, if someone would like to offer that, so that we can make it official, and I can get her an employee number, that'd be great.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Mr. McCann.
Oh, thank you, Mike.
Roll call.
Roll call. Mr. Siebert?
Yes.
Mr. Nelsen?
Yes.
Mr. Vitkansas?
Yes.
Mr. Cordiano?
Yes.
Mr. Monaghan?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson? Yes. And Ms. Breen?
Yes.
Okay. Then we had the second reading for the lost and paid materials that we discussed last month, and if you can just review that. The change is that a customer who has paid a lost item fee but later finds the item or items and tries to return it to the library will not be permitted to do so. There are no refunds on found lost items. Once the lost fee is paid to the library will record the change and remove the item from the system, and the item becomes the property of the customer.
A question about this, because this happens to me several times a year.
Don't pay the lost fee.
No, I pay the lost fee and I find it. I'm
Yes.
not interested in getting my money back, but I want to give the item back to the library.
To
And they tell me
donate.
they won't take it.
Well, you can say you can donate it back to the library,
But all
but
you
it's
have to
already
tag, it's already done. Like I have a stack of CDs in my house right now, and we found them, they're all library CDs. And I paid for them.
some money.
And I want to bring them back.
No, you
Because I don't
shall
want
keep
them any
them.
longer. But the library won't take them back.
Well,
Maybe that's straight.
you have to understand, if you have to remove it from the system in order to reprocess it and purchase it. So if you lost it and then 6 months later you find it, we need to move along and either make the determination
And there's no way
of
for me
whether
to
it's
donate
just
that back to the
you can
library.
donate it, put it in the bag, and you can say, you know,
I can put it in the bag and I just drop it in the.
well, you would have to say that these were already paid lost items,
Right.
and I'm donating them back to the library.
Okay.
That you probably can do.
I get that.
Do
So, not
it,
doing
do
that.
it anonymously.
Steve, there was a lot of CDs.
Yeah, I don't want to know that you've done that.
There were a lot of CDs missing at the.
We're trying to track.
I was starting to wonder about
No,
it.
those were DVDs,
Oh,
not
DVDs, yeah, but he didn't say DVDs or
This is
Well,
that.
thank you.
Stack.
He said stack of CDs.
That's it, that's how I pay the
Lost
money.
item fund.
Thank you so much for your contribution, Mr. Monahan.
That's it.
So do we have a motion to make this change and have the second reading and approval for this tonight?
Motion.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
And Mr. Siebert?
Yes.
Mr. Nelson?
Yes.
Mr. Vitkansas?
Yep.
Mr. Cordiano?
Yes.
Mr. Monahan?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson? Ms. Green?
Yes.
Okay, motion passed. Thank you. We can put that in effect tomorrow. And Megan will be very happy for our services. Then we have the copiers, the rental purchase agreement.
Approval of 14 calendar.
Oh, did I do it? Oh, sorry. Missed that. So we have the calendars for 2014 and the legal notice. So I drafted those so that we can get them out.
Are these all the third Wednesday?
They are.
With the exception of December 17th.
No, I think that was the third one also.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was. No? Maybe not.
That's a special, because of the
Tricky go.
Okay, so we're for. Want to check the calendar?
Yeah.
You know, the calendar that you say that, it's technology.
It is the third Wednesday of
It
December.
is, I apologize.
That's okay. I thought it was, but that's okay.
Is there a
Nothing
motion?
unusual with the holiday?
There's nothing unusual with the holidays this year.
Is there a
So,
motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second. Thank you, Mr. Allen. All in
Mr.
favor?
Se- oh,
Aye.
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 okay. Thank you. And so the list that I gave you for the motions, they're actually, there's Xerox and Toshiba, so we got prices from both. The maintenance agreement for the copy machines was up in October. We did not renew it. And Joan felt that we should get new pricing because the equipment is over, 5 years old, 6 years, past its time. And there were a lot of problems with the machines. And now the proposals that we've gotten from Toshiba as well as Xerox, which I think now, in looking at the one that I just received yesterday from Toshiba, the monthly fees are less than we're paying right now for 2013. So,
That's good.
yes. So if you look at, to continue the contract to the end of the year would have been like $194 for each machine plus the overages, which I don't think it would be for the next 5 weeks to do the maintenance on the systems. We might as well just go to the end of the year without it, because we haven't done it since October and we've gotten by, and I think we should be okay. I mean, the maintenance guys really know how to. Most of the time it's just paper that's stuck in the machine or something. There hasn't really been any really big problems besides that. So if you look at the state contract for the new machines, they're $140 per month for the machines, and it depends on the coin machine. But when I reviewed Toshiba's only going to be $105, and that was a month for the two machines, so it's each, so it's $210 a month, and instead of $280, which would be Xerox, and then the administrative office one was $185 from Xerox, and Toshiba was $169. So if the board could motion that at least we could go ahead and have a new contract, a lease contract,
How long is the lease for?
5 years.
5 years?
Mhm. To go with the equipment and let Joan just compare the apples to apples to make sure, and go with the one that has the best package.
We'll still approve it at some point, right?
Well, the motion would be to go ahead. We need to do it by, well, we can do it then
January 1st.
for January 1.
Yeah, I would still want the board to.
Okay, so I'm going to let her compare them.
Yeah,
We'll go
bring
over
the
them
best
because
ones
we
to us.
just got this yesterday. We'll compare them and then we'll make the recommendation in December.
This is
Thank you.
Toshiba as opposed to Xerox?
Yes.
And Toshiba's made in Japan and Xerox is made in this country?
I don't think anything's made in this country.
Probably not.
Probably China.
Yeah, they're probably both made in China, even though Toshiba's a Japanese company.
Well, one does have a better pricing, so that's up to you guys. Then the other, so that's what we'll do. And then the snow removal contract was up in April of 2013. And it was never addressed, so there was no RFP sent out for this service at the time, which we usually did. And so I sent an email to Ted Maloney, who's the director of the DPW, and asked him if they would do the snow removal was an option for the library, if we needed to send out an RFP. And Ted said that, someone obviously has, in an emergency, yes, because he understands that there is no contract. We have nothing right now, that he would help the library and we would work something out. But at some point, Mr. Siebert or the finance committee or someone has to sit with him and talk about whether or not it's gonna be viable for DPW to do our snow removal. Is the library gonna be a priority? Because I think that was one of the issues in the past, you know.
Well, that's what we pay them. Why don't we just put an RFP out and just get pricing and get on the contract? Or call the contractor that did it last year.
Well, we can't just do that, an RFP would have to go out. So it's either the board decides that they talk to Ted Maloney for the township to do it, or we go out for RFP and we
Can we do both?
get the services.
Can we do both?
We can do both. So.
We can do both, sure,
I don't think that would be the appropriate.
Just
but,
because you send out an RFP doesn't mean you have to award the.
Right.
right, so I mean, you can do
So
that,
basically, we would have,
but I think, can
How
I,
much is the township going to charge? We don't know what we spend.
well, right, or would it be included in our fees that we already pay? Probably not.
Definitely.
Definitely not? Okay. I was just
I'm
going.
sure
I think
we
the
have
problem
one
in the past was that
line.
the library needs to be plowed out early because the public comes in.
Yes.
The little lady slipping and falling, and I don't think the library was a priority for the township before, so.
I think that was what you were.
I think we could certainly talk to Ted and see if,
It's
That's continues to be
worthwhile
the case.
to have.
at the same time, get some quotes, maybe we can impress upon him that we
So,
should be a priority.
Do they do schools too, the township?
No.
I would doubt that. I don't think so.
yeah,
Maintenance, yeah, we have all maintenance, all right.
we have our maintenance staff, yes.
But
But not the equipment.
Shovels.
They can shovel walls, but not, they
No,
can't.
I'm just.
shovels.
Yeah, they do all the salting of the sidewalks and stuff like that.
How much was the RFP last year, $1,200? Is that what it said? Oh, no,
That's usually
No,
the reason.
That's the holiday. No,
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
Honestly, I didn't
How much
put it.
we spent last year versus.
I can look it up, I have it.
Right.
I-
Maybe we want to take a look at it and say, maybe we pay to just hire as it sells instead of having.
You gotta have these.
No, you gotta have them.
You
The
have to
problem with that is
have
they
Never
won't,
get
they
to
won't
our-
come then if you don't, because they have contracts with everybody else. They go to their customers first and then you're out of luck. That's the only problem with that.
Because I think when you said if we don't have it plowed out, we have to have a delayed opening.
Yes, we would have to have a delayed opening until we work that out, and then people are getting,
For a snowstorm, people might not have the library on the top of their list,
A lot of programs that go on.
Well,
Gotta have quality reading.
okay, so do you want, you want an RFP?
yeah, and it's also,
So,
we want to make sure that we are going to be open, that we have a professional operation plow to avoid any liability issues and things like that. So I think speaking to DPW to see if they can put us at the top of the list along with other facilities. If they cannot guarantee that, then we'll go to the RFP.
so Mr. Siebert, do you want me
Do both.
to have an appointment with Ted Maloney and you? You'll contact him, okay. And so I will send out an RFP tomorrow.
Yes.
And also the other RFPs that will go out will be for all the vendors that we do business with for 2014. So they will go out and then we will get all the responses by the first week of January for the reorganization meeting. Okay? Okay. And now holiday season is coming and we always decorate the library. So it costs about $1,200. Last year we lowered it and I think it was less than that. So it was under $1,000 last year. We probably could do it for under $1,000 this year, but I do think that for morale and it's nice to decorate.
Absolutely, library should have nice snowman and stuff.
Now, here's a silly question. Instead of
Children,
you saying you're going to hire decorators, would it be something around that said, well, you're going to have a decorator, right?
No, actually, the place that usually does it is Flower Power, and they donate the weekly flowers to the library for free that are on borrower services. Not that we have to use them, but they always give us a proposal, and it's usually pretty reasonable.
No, I'm just curious, maybe
And they give us
for morale
flowers.
purposes, you say, you'd have like a little holiday free party and just do it with the staff.
Oh, so like when we go out, like when they go out in the spring and they have like the committee and they go out and buy the flowers and then they plant them. So we can have like a holiday decorating committee.
Something like that. I mean, I don't know if that would be something that people would actually enjoy doing together, or just to try to create some morale within the people that work here and say, we want to decorate the library just like we did last year, do you guys want to do it would volunteer.
But then you might get someone who's ratty old Santa Claus that's been hanging around
No,
the
no,
attic.
no, 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 he means
I'm
like,
not talking about
like,
that, that's
no.
Still a budget to go by.
we have a budget, right, you have a budget, you can approve a budget, and then we can spend X amount of dollars for all the decorations, and then like a little decorating committee, like they do the spring committee, to
But
plant
you
the
want them to
flowers
be
around the library.
coherent, you want them to
Sing
be
holiday
all the same
songs.
color, you want them to be
Exactly.
tasty.
I can't charge that.
See, you
Don't
come,
worry
right?
about
I
that.
said tasty.
I bring a bottle of brandy, and get a little brandy, no brandy, sorry, no
Do
brandy.
you anticipate that happening during normal work hours? Or something that would happen on a volunteer basis after? Is it something that during the contract? It's on the job description, so.
Well, I
it's-
can tell you that during work hours, they do go to purchase the spring flowers,
Okay.
and they do plant them during work hours according to around their programs and whatnot, and they gather at their lunch hour and a little bit afterwards or whatever and do it. So I can't
Do
say
you
that
think
it
that would
doesn't
be something
happen.
that people would enjoy living, or we give them something that they don't want?
Yeah, I think there are people that enjoy that, I mean, because there's people that enjoy planting the flowers, so I would see, why not, why wouldn't they be?
Why don't we give Wendy a budget of 700, 800?
Thousand.
$1,000?
Not-
$1,000,
not to
and say if she thinks the staff would be interested.
I'll send out
If not,
an email
we'll just
tomorrow.
go with flower petals.
Okay, I'll send out an email tomorrow to the staff to see if anyone,
Yeah.
is that a motion?
Not to
Ian?
exceed,
Okay.
not to
I
exceed
like that
1,000.
around for the holidays, so I would have no problem coming here on that.
Would you help?
Did you second it?
I second.
And the motion was, the budget not to exceed $1,000.
Right, for holiday decorating.
Roll.
Okay, Mr. Siebert?
Yes.
Mr. Nelson?
Yes.
Mr. Vitkansas?
And your green lights?
Absolutely.
Mr. Cordiano? Mr. Monaghan?
Yes.
Ms. Nelson? Ms. Breen? Thank you. Thank you, Rob.
It's a good suggestion, thank you.
And the last thing is to go out for a quote for a panic button in the children's department. It's the only section
Absolutely.
of the library that does not have, and this is just a motion to go get a quote from like Ted Hall or whoever, or one of the companies. I can ask Joan what alarm company we use and see also, because it's the only department that doesn't have it, and it's a little vulnerable, I think.
Certainly.
Wendy, do you have to practice like any drills here?
We do have fire drills sometimes and safety.
Do we have an emergency evacuation plan?
I believe we do.
When's the last time we had a drill?
That I couldn't answer.
Okay.
I have
You might
not,
wanna-
there has not been one
We
since
might
I'm
want to
here.
consider, there's a
There hasn't
couple
been
things.
one since you've been here.
Correct.
Okay, we have to do one immediately,
Okay,
and we also have to do something else where if there's somebody that
That's like a lockdown.
locked down and infiltrates the building, and how you plan on communicating to the staff.
Contact me on that. We'll see,
Yeah.
figure out what the requirements are, how to handle that.
Police department.
Yeah, because I
I think
imagine
the
there has to be
police
some
department
kind of
is
plan.
something-
they do. The police
Just
department,
recently,
that was
there's
one
been
of
a
the
lot of
training
that
things that I
lately. I
heard.
haven't looked at my business and.
Yeah, in January.
Saying,
Yeah, I think you're
That
right.
was
Good
on the
idea,
list.
if we didn't have to.
If we didn't even have to.
I think even, is there not
It
required
was-
to,
We might go on.
that makes a lot of sense.
Just to throw a name out there, John Meyer, who's a retired Nelsen, is doing the
The lockdown.
school safety, in the town.
Okay,
So,
back to the panic button. Is
Okay.
there a motion?
Yeah.
Motion.
Second.
Okay,
Second.
all in favor?
It's just a quote.
You better?
That's all I have.
Public session.
Anybody like to speak?
Would anyone like to speak? Linda? Speak.
One comment.
Hi, going through the agenda real quick, did you actually talk about financial reports? Was that just approved very quickly? Seems like we were right on the correspondence.
It was all approved.
No discussion. One of the comments that was brought up last time is that the township, the amount being charged by the township is actually not exceeding the amount that was
expenditure of the funds. Not necessarily the amount.
So would you say that, you know, I guess we won't really know until the end of the year, through December 30th, and compare the amount that is expected, the amount that was actually charged, they should be one and the same.
I guess one is,
Okay. Are you seeing that the charges are running ahead of what was estimated? Or what the account provided? Is there not their estimate, the amount that should be charged?
I'm not sure I understand your
Yeah, it's
question.
possible, I don't either, as I've not seen it before, so, you'll take a look at it. Request to take a look at it, I'll understand that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Wendy, this thing here from the force from adopted family services, are these people who like put a box in for toys? Okay, so this is an ongoing thing?
Yes, every year we
Okay.
permit them to put the toys in and people, you know, take off a stocking or whatever, a boy or a girl, and they
Okay.
donate a toy and then they come and pick them up.
Would anyone else like to speak? Showing that no one else in the public wishes to speak, we'll move on with our agenda. We will be having another closed session. The Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10-4-6, allows for exclusion of the public from the portion of the meeting on certain matters which might endanger the public interest or risk defamation of individual rights are discussed, and the Board of Trustees of the Middletown Township Public Library wish to discuss the following matters in a non-public closed meeting. Resulting discussion being made public when a proper conclusion has been reached and there is no longer need for confidentiality. Any matter involving the employment, appointment, termination of employment, and the condition of employment evaluation or disciplining any specific employees unless the individual employee requests in writing that the matter be discussed at a public meeting. Now therefore, it be resolved, the board will hold a closed executive session immediately in this conference room located in Middletown Township Public Library, New Jersey. It is anticipated the closed session will not last longer than 20 minutes. The board will not be returning to public session after